Hello and welcome to episode 11 of SAAB Fever. My name's Frank, and in today's episode, I'll be stuck in the boot of a SAAB 9.5 Saloon. The 9.5 Saloon does suffer from a fairly common problem where the wiring going to the boot lid itself can get frayed. The motor's in the boot lid and therefore you can't unlock the door. In earlier model years, SAAB did include a manual lock on the outside, but this was removed at some point. And this car doesn't have it at all. The really annoying thing about this particular incident is that all the warning signs were there about 6 months to a year ago. While the missus was reversing, I noticed one of the reversing lights wasn't working. I took the trim off the inside of the boot lid, checked everything out with my multimeter and everything. I could see there was no power getting to the left-hand reversing light. I knew the wiring could be an issue on this car, but at the time, I don't know if I was just feeling incredibly lazy or something, I decided to just patch it up and hook it up to the other light. A few days ago, the missus told me that the boot didn't work anymore. I went out to check myself to see if it was working or not, or to see if the motor was having trouble. But there was absolutely no life from the motor at all, either from using the remote fob or the button on the driver's door. It wasn't long before I realised that the warning signs were there all along, the wiring was getting frayed, and I just kind of bodged around the problem. So anyway, enough self-loathing, let's get on with this. The first thing I'm going to do here is use a Torx bit to take the handle off. Once the handle's off, I can just push the pins in on the poppers there. This will allow me to pull back the headlining. I'm hoping I don't have to take the whole thing off. I just want to sort of peel it back in a way, see if I can get into the locking mechanism. I don't actually know what's waiting for me when I get in there. I know some cars have an opening in the lock where you can shove in, like say, a flathead screwdriver, twist it to release. So we'll see what's in there when I get there. They're starting to pop out easily enough. I just need to make sure I don't lose any. Should be enough to pull it back. A quick look here, I can see the mechanism at the bottom and the motor at the top. There's a bar joining the two together. It should just be a case of grabbing that bar and pulling up by the looks of it. Tried it a few times and the lock didn't budge. I could see something moving lower down, so I decided to encourage that up with my little pick tool. In the end, I don't think that was actually necessary. I think I probably just wasn't pulling hard enough. I just want to balance something there on the boot just to make sure that the boot doesn't close while I'm wriggling out of the car. That's that part of the job done. I'll take the rest of the poppers off to release the lining. Here you can see my bodge I did. I cut that green wire there, then spliced it into the other green one. This is where the wiring goes into the boot lid. And that's my problem right there. You can actually see it really didn't take any work at all. You can see the green wire, and there's the brown popping out as well. Obviously that green goes to the reversing light, which I've bodged previously. But that brown, it's actually brown and purple. That's new. I'm assuming, therefore, that that's the power to the motor. I just need to release some of the clips up here first so that I can get the... my plan is not to remove the entire wiring loom. I just need to free up enough of the wire to let me play with it. I'm just going to have to pull these out. This one was a little tougher. I had to put the camera down and use 2 hands. And that allows me just enough play to get the wiring through, to give me more space to actually see what's going on here. Just cutting back some of the insulation. There are actually a few places in the wiring where wires are twisted around. You can see just between my 2 hands there, there's actually a little twist of cable on the other green wire. And that's exactly what I've got here on the brown and purple wire I need to repair. So as it happens, this isn't even going to require any extra wiring. I can just cut out the bad bit, straighten out the loop, strip the ends of both wires, and then solder it all together. Should be fine. I'll do a little test first, obviously. I'll just twist the wires together and then see if the motor works. Just twisting the strands inside the wires together here. I find it makes it easier when you're putting them together. I'll then, in essence, just twist them round each other. Now to find the key to actually check. Turns out I left it in the boot all along. And that's a success. All I need to do now is solder that properly and then wrap it with some insulation tape. I really should treat myself to those little wiring sleeves you can get. They're basically a solder ring covered in heat shrink. That would make this so much easier. But it's a thing I don't actually have at present, so I'll just make use of my portable 12-volt soldering iron and some solder. It's not a pretty job, but it's functional. Just need to find somewhere to put the soldering iron that won't set fire to something. I'll now wrap some insulating tape around that particular wire. Then I'll do some around the entire bundle of wires, just to make sure it doesn't happen again in a hurry. As I said before, this is a fairly common thing on the 9.5, at least, you know, this type. I don't think it happens on the estates, just the saloons. I mean, saying that it's common, crikey, this car's, what, 15, 16 years old? And as far as I'm aware, this is the first time it's happened. Just in case I'm starting to put everything back together now. Let's go for a second test before I do that finally, though. Here you can see the motor in action. It's just a case of putting the lining back in now. And the final test. Success. As always, thanks for watching.